Hey, so we are Sparging, and we have big Josh Helper up on the brew deck, riding the big rig. Josh is riding the big rig. Josh is running Sparge for us right now, and you can still see, our grant we have, boom. You can see that we still have nice dark wort running through this for this peanut butter stout that we're doing. And we have that wort going over, filling up the kettle. You just saw that sight glass filling up as we continue the louder process. And right now, Josh is spraying hot water from the hot liquor tank onto the surface of the grain bed, and he is adjusting the pH of that down with a diluted phosphoric acid solution, food grade of course. Big picture, people will ask a lot of times, how come you just don't do that, take care of that stuff in the hot liquor tank? My hot liquor tank is not rigged out appropriately to be able to do something like that, so this is how we fix it, right? Anyways, it is a little bit labor intensive, but I believe very strongly in the benefits of adjusting the pH of your sparge water. I think it just helps out. We try to keep that sparge water in general or in the 5.5 range. For our mash today for this, we're shooting for about 5.35 for this stout. For dark beers, you can go a little bit higher. But anyways, so that's what we have going on. I'll run up and we'll shoot over Josh's shoulder a little bit and show you some of that hot sparging action. Let's go. Do you have any more acid? Sweet. All right, I'm just gonna take a look at it. Sparging the grain bed. Megan and Spargy. Sparging with Margie. She's at Urban Artifact. Go drink some Urban Artifact beer. Support our girl Marge out there in them streets making that wort, that tart stuff, that young fruit stuff. That's Sparge. We're wrapping this up. Next thing you know, we're gonna have kettle full, hop editions, peanut butter edition. Boy, it's gonna be fun. Okay, so we have grained out the mash tun. We have a full kettle, and we are just about 30 minutes into the boil. I am gonna be doing a 90-minute boil on this beer, primarily because the base of this beer is Pilsner malt, and I want to make sure that I'm driving off as much DMS precursor as I can. So with Pilsner malt, I boil for 90 minutes. I am going to measure up my hops for this. Maybe I mentioned it before, but in my mind, when you're doing an adjunct stout like this, or really any adjunct beers, I don't think you necessarily need to be throwing in a lot of character hops late. In my mind, if I'm doing a chocolate beer, a peanut butter beer, whatever, I want that thing to shine, and I don't want it to have to necessarily compete with hop flavor, which I don't think bitterness, hop flavor necessarily blend well with certain desserty type flavors, but you know, what are you gonna do? So we're doing this peanut beer, so I'm trying to keep the citrus character out. I am gonna be using just a clean bittering hop here. Traditionally, I use either Warrior or Magnum for that. And sometimes I'll use those interchangeably even when I'm talking about them. So, you know, forgive me if I mix that up in a future thing. This is just going to be 2 pounds, really about 22, 25 IBU in this beer. And we're going to get those measured up. I think it really helps a lot to use a ridiculously large container for your hops. That's a joke. Anyways, we'll be adding those soon. We'll be hitting up the Whirlpool a little bit later with some maltodextrin to kind of build the body up even more. We have made the decision to throw all 50 pounds of that peanut powder in there. The stuff tastes good. We kind of took some and diluted it in water to make sure it wouldn't brick up too much in there. It stays pretty powdery. We'll see, and we're gonna give it a shot. So anyway, stay tuned. All right, so we have been boiling for a half hour, meaning we have 60 minutes left in our boil for our peanut butter stout. We are going to do our 60-minute hop strike right here. I like adding them slowly. I don't know if you can be able to tell from where you are, but I do get a fair amount of foam that kicks up. It's just something that happens when you add hops to a boil. I don't want that coming out at me, so I just kind of add them slowly. And two, sometimes it seems like the kettle reacts a little bit differently with different beers. This one's foaming up pretty well. I do use a food grade anti-foam. There, it broke. You can see it went back down now. Get the rest of those hops in there. Boom. I'm gonna babysit it a minute to make sure it doesn't want to kick back up on me again, everything like that. And then you can see 2 bags up here. This one right here is maltodextrin, is leaking a little bit apparently. The next one is our roasted peanut powder. And those are gonna go in at Whirlpool. We're also in between now and the Whirlpool, between now and the end of the boil, we are gonna do a little nutrient addition at 15 minutes. And we are gonna do a Whirlflock addition at 5 minutes. And then we'll jump back and we will show you getting this, both the maltodextrin and the peanut butter powder, into the kettle. All right? Okay, so this should be happy. We're good to roll. See you in 60 minutes. All right, so we have just wrapped up our boil and we are starting up our Whirlpool pump. So it'll start pumping wort around the outside of the kettle, creating a gentle whirlpool. The fastest moving wort, though, is going to be right up alongside the kettle wall. And so that's why I'm going to be pouring this maltodextrin first, to kind of carry that around to mix it in really well. And then secondly, all 50 pounds of this peanut butter powder. We will find out how this goes. This is the first time I'm using peanut butter powder in the Whirlpool. So here goes the sugar. I try to go slowly with this. We do try to make sure we don't have a bunch of huge chunks in it. All right, and then now this peanut butter powder. The moment of truth. We kind of tested out to see like how hydrophilic this stuff is, how much it loves water, and it does seem to get soaked up pretty readily, so we shall see how this goes. Oh, dude. Yeah, it goes right in. A couple of questions you might have. Does this scare me? Yeah. Am I a little uncomfortable doing this? Yeah. What are my concerns? My concerns are I don't want, to gum up anything. My heat exchanger, Josh and I were joking around that we were just going to have this huge pile of peanut butter in the bottom of this and it wouldn't dissolve. But we're finding that we mixed it in water at a far denser rate than what we're putting into the kettle, and it doesn't really seem to brick out. So we'll see. But I mean, sure, it's, it makes you nervous. I do have some floaties right now, but it's really not bad. I think it'll, again, prove to be hydrophilic. This is one of the things you come to this channel for. Big words, appropriately used, sometimes. Okay, so we do have a few chunk-a-lunks, and I'm gonna take my little scoop here. Josh, you wanna set a timer for 10 minutes? I'm just gonna knock around some of these bigger chunks. And when I say bigger chunks, they're not very big at all. I really don't know. You can kind of see, but it's not bad at all. I will get a sample of this post on its way to the fermenter, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how much flavor gets through. I am. It's like playing a video game. I'm like trying to bust up these peanut butter balls as they go by. You don't want to have a bad case of peanut butter balls, Josh. Peanut butter balls all the rest. Aren't they a yummy dessert, though? Yeah, just purely from a brewing standpoint. Last thing. Alright. I busted up a good amount of it, and it looks pretty good. We are going to run the Whirlpool a little bit longer than we do to help kind of incorporate that stuff. And then 25-minute rest, and then we're going to start running this thing off. So we'll see how it goes. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Okay, so we are knocking out this peanut butter stout right now. It was a little bit nerve-wracking, not knowing how that whole thing was going to work out with all that peanut powder going into the Whirlpool. We did find it, again, to be very hydrophilic or water-loving. There's only a couple little chunky chunks on top, but we're going to be keeping an eye on it here as we go. Josh and I did just take a sample off of it. It was a little bit clearer than we expected, and the nose had a nice real peanut, roasted peanut note to it, but the flavor was dialed down. Now, what I think is going on here is that, one, it might not be a ton of flavor that we got from it, but I actually think it's something different. I actually think that flavor is there, but it's being masked a little bit by the high level, by the high density of sugar in solution. If you think about it, one of the things that sugar does is round out and soften up flavors. So that's kind of our take on it. It does seem to be running off well. I don't think it's going to give us any huge problems, but we'll see. We'll run a huge cleaning cycle on this. I don't know. We'll give it a shot. Really, after this, we're pitching this on 04, dry 04, going to be fermenting at 67, and we'll probably catch you at the tasting next, where we'll kind of walk through everything else. So, anyways, let's do it. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you feel as if you got any value out of the video, please like and subscribe. There are also other videos that you can watch. They're gonna maybe be over here or over here. Appreciate you watching.